This is the Australian Mobile DJ Podcast. In this series, we'll talk to them, get to know them, and learn from them. And here's your host, DJ Bevo.
Welcome to another week of this amazing podcast, which people are messaging me about and saying, hey, I'm loving the podcast. It's good to find out what other DJs are doing during lockdown and the COVID crisis, and it's good to hear what DJs are doing in general. This lady contacted me a couple of weeks ago and was really enthused by what she heard in the podcast, so I thought I'd invite her on. She's from Melbourne. Sierra Jane, hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, DJ Bevo. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're most welcome. Lockdown still happening in Melbourne town at the moment?
Yeah, it's pretty hectic here. We can't travel outside a 5 kilometre radius, so yeah, it's very strict at the moment.
How's the mental health? I mean, you've been locked down for how many months now? You must be going a bit bonkers, locked up for so long.
Yeah, it's been really tough. We have been locked down. I haven't worked in DJing since about March now. Yeah, so it's been tough, but I'm actually really thankful for COVID and lockdown because I sort of have leveled my business up. So I've taken my business to the next level during this time. It's actually given me the time to sort of step back and reassess where my business is going, what I want in the future out of DJing and the business. And it's been actually pretty good.
Yeah, you've got all that time to think, don't you? Usually you're quite busy, you're going from job to job, you're concentrating on those jobs, but this time you're able to kind of sit back and evaluate and analyse what you do and how to improve things, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's right. So I actually had my own business as a cleaner.
Yep.
So I was juggling both DJing and the cleaning business.
Yep.
And at the start of the year, I took a step back from the cleaning business and thought, I'm going to put more into my DJing, but I'm still going to work on the side and have that extra income. And then when lockdown happened, it was just crazy, there were no jobs going. It was just nuts. And I actually sat down, and it's always been a thing for me where I've had in my head where, like, DJing, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a society, maybe it's the way I've been brought up, but I've always had DJing as not a real job. I've always looked at it as a business, but I've never seen it as a real job. And I took a step back and I thought, I'm really good at this. I love it. I'm passionate about it. Why not go full time with it? It is a real job. It's a real business. It's a real job. It's a real thing. So COVID has given me the time to sort of step back, read up on things, marketing, SEO, going a bit more online, being a bit more tech savvy, and taking my business to the next level. So during COVID, I've actually jumped on Twitch and started streaming, and that is going really, really well.
Oh, cool. What times do you usually jump on there? Is there like a regular time that we can check out you in action?
So it's been a bit crazy because we've just actually entered daylight savings here in Melbourne.
Yep.
And I was reaching a lot of the American crowd, but now when I started at 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. here, but when I'm starting, it's around 5 or 6 a.m. in America. So I'm not getting that morning crowd as much. So I'm actually thinking of extending it and doing 9 p.m. till 12 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm actually looking at the logistics of it at the moment and reassessing what timing I'm doing. But yeah, I was doing 9 p.m. to 11 p.m., but looking at doing longer streams and changing the timing around a little bit to hit more of the international crowd. Yeah,
that's fun. That's cool. It's really opening up your eyes. And years, it's always been about playing to your crowd, your audience, and your clients. But now this whole online thing, which is opening up avenues for all sorts of DJs and DJs being heard by people that wouldn't usually be heard by these markets. Would you find that that's the case for you?
Oh, 100%. I've never really hit an international level as such. So I'm getting people from all over the world, Germany, Belgium, Scotland, America, tuning in, saying hello. Like, it's just crazy. I've made so many new connections from around the globe.
Yeah, it's quite funny. Like we've been isolated, yet we crave that human interaction. We want to feel our crowds like we usually do on a Friday or a Saturday night. So we're reaching out online, and it's doing quite the opposite. We've got this focus on what we usually have a crowd, and now we've got this international audience. And reaching out is just I find it's also reconnecting with old friends, people you haven't spoken to in ages. You're reaching out to those people and rekindling those connections. Have you found that's a similar situation for you?
Yeah, 100%. I'm getting people from years ago tuning in, old DJ friends tuning in. It's just been amazing. It's been great to connect with so many old and new people. It's great.
Let's hear about your story, Sierra. Where did you fall into DJing, your beginnings of the job?
So I've always loved music. When I was in high school, I actually played the flute. So I played the flute for 8 years. I did the AMEB, which is the Australian Music Examination Board. I did up to level 6, and once you get to level 8, you can be a teacher. I did up to level 6, didn't go past that. Didn't really pursue the flute outside of high school, and sort of went out into the world and thought, I'm going to do this full-time thing. I've been a receptionist. I've got a Certificate 3 in Business Administration. So I've been in the corporate world, and I was a flight attendant at the time that I started pursuing DJing. I thought, I always loved music. I saw DJs around, and I thought, I reckon I can do that. So I was in Vietnam on a holiday, and I had all this money saved up for spending over there, and I hadn't been spending a whole lot. And I had a grand in there, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to book. So I was in Vietnam, and I went online and I booked this DJ course. I think it was through DJ Warehouse. And I did this. I just had this pull towards it. I did this DJ course, and at the start it was just a hobby, just a bit of fun. And it just grew and grew. I started off in clubs, and I branched out into private functions because I had all my own gear at home that I was practicing on. So I branched out into private functions and started doing weddings, and it's just grown. I've been doing it for almost 10 years now, and it's just grown over the years. It's been amazing.
The side of online marketing and that sort of thing, what have you learnt through that journey? Nonetheless, you'd be doing a lot of it yourself?
Yeah, 100%. It's all sort of been, besides doing the DJ course, it's been self-taught. What I've learned and what I love, I love the music a lot. Don't get me wrong, I love the music. But what I love is bringing people together through the music. So, being at a wedding, a 21st, an engagement, putting on that song that everyone knows, like Jesse's Girl or The Horses, and seeing everyone grab their mates and come together on the dance floor is just phenomenal. So I get joy out of bringing people together through music, and I found DJing is about music, but it's also about people and, just making people happy.
Making people happy. It's a pretty good job description, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
What do you do? Oh, I make people happy. Oh, good for you. What is it you do? I'm a DJ. Oh, cool. Rock and roll. What equipment are you rocking there, DJ Sierra Jane?
So I'm actually a little bit old school. I don't use a laptop. I just recently actually transitioned to USBs. So I was on CDs. So I currently use two CDJ 350s, a Pioneer, and a DJ M800 Pioneer.
Oh, cool. And what about your headphones and microphone and PA stuff?
I've got a Sennheiser headphones. I think my microphone is also Sennheiser. I've got two cordless microphones. Yeah. So I'm quite sort of rocking the old school. I like what I found, and my advice to other DJs would be to learn to beat match using your ears. So if someone comes up to me and requests a song that I'm not super familiar with, I don't have, because I've got the CDJ 350s, they don't have any wavelengths, I can't see where the drops are in music. So I play the song, and just by learning the structure of the song and learning to beat match with my ears, I've found that I can play like a song request and still be able to bring in another song that I'm more familiar with into that song that I'm not so familiar with.
The other thing I was going to ask is, do you find there's a niche market for female DJs, in that some crowds prefer having a female DJ than, because it's such a dominated industry by men? Do you have special requests sometimes because someone's looking for a female DJ?
I find the most gigs that I would do that they sort of lean more towards a female DJ would be like the children's discos and children's parties. Yeah.
And why do you think that is? Is that because females have like a mother instinct, I guess you could say, and they're really good with children?
I think so. I think there's that sort of stigma around it. Not stigma, sort of generalization that, it's that mothering instinct. Yeah, definitely. A good way, sorry to interrupt, a good way I find to combat that, and what I tell other DJs that I work with, because it's such a male-dominated industry, is 100% in Australia, get your working with children check. So it's a good selling point, but it also allows you to work with children. So I recommend highly to all my male DJ friends is to have a working with children check and just say to them, because I do refer to a lot because I get double booked a lot, and it's just me working by myself. I'm a sole trader. I do refer on to a lot of male DJs, and I just say to them, make sure you have your working with children check, and I can just say, hey, this DJ is awesome. He's got his working with children check. He's worked with children before. It's just that extra sort of selling point as well.
What's the difference in terms of playing to children than, I guess, drunk adults?
The big difference, I think, is having current music. So top 40, the children prefer sort of the top 40 radio sort of music, but also being super interactive and having that interaction with them, playing games as well, I find works really well.
What's a couple of the games that the kids like to play?
Oh, musical statues is always a good one.
Yeah.
And it's easy to implement. I find a lot of DJs probably wouldn't do this, but I find I get helpers. So I get people to come up and help me stop the music. So turn the channel fader down. Just it's such an easy thing to do, but they love it. They love it, but you've got to be careful that they don't all sort of crowd you and come on in and they're all touching the equipment. So it can get a bit, touch and go there. But I find just having them sort of help me and still be involved in the game if they don't want to play, that always works well.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's almost like having a guest DJ, and they feel like rock stars because they get to touch the
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
And I find I also I welcome parents to come up with their children and take photos. So I put the headphones on them and they can pretend to be a DJ, and have that photo. So I find that's always fun as well.
When it comes to music in your own time, what do you listen to?
I personally love Tropical House. I am a huge lover of Avicii. Loved everything he put out. I just thought he was an absolute genius. So that sort of Avicii style and Tropical House, I love that sort of music.
And moving forward in times of lockdown and social distancing and all these changes which are coming in, and it sounds like it's going to be for a long time now, where do you see the industry going?
Honestly, I've thought about that so much, and I'm not sure. I'm hoping we will bounce back after this. I'm actually making little like COVID packs. So I bought myself the other day a black mask. So like a black face mask. So when I go to gigs, I've got that neutral sort of colour on. I want to be looking professional because I do a lot of weddings. So I want to be looking professional. So I've got that black face mask, just a neutral sort of colour, nothing with patterns. And I'm also making up little COVID packs. So I bought the other day microphone covers and a multi-purpose wipes, and I'm making these little packs, and they're going to have like a microphone cover in there. So when someone goes, rather than me running up, disinfecting the microphone after everyone's had a talk and then passing it after like someone's done their speech and then passing it on to the next person, I'm going to give them everyone that's speaking, these little packs, and they've got their microphone cover, which is just like a fabric cover that you put over the microphone, doesn't stifle the talking or change the talking at all. You can still talk quite clearly with the cover on. And then they've got the disinfectant wipe. So before they start speaking, they can use their disinfectant wipe, put the cover on, and then once they finish speaking, they can just quickly take the cover off, give it a wipe down, and pass it on to the next person who does the same thing.
Hey, that's really impressive. I like those suggestions.
Oh, thank you.
You've had some time to think about this, and good on you. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted something that wouldn't interrupt speeches and things too much, but still have that safety around it. So, yeah, I've just been thinking, I do take song requests as well. So I'm thinking about how I can sort of come up with a way where there's still social distancing and still taking song requests. So, yeah, I'm looking into that at the moment. That's the next step.
Excellent stuff. DJ Sierra Jane, how do we find you on online? Because you've got a few channels going on, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a few things. I've got YouTube, Mixcloud, Instagram, Facebook, but the best way to find me is at my website, which is www.sierrajane.com.
Cool. Well, check it out. Thank you so much for joining us on the Australian Mobile DJ podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me, DJ Bebo. It's been amazing. And thank you for all that you're doing. You're doing a wonderful job.
The Australian Mobile DJ podcast was hosted by DJ Bevo and produced by Matt Fulton Productions.